But you taste it, like, oh man, that is nuts.
Oh no.
Got a little something behind the counter for you.
I'm in trouble.
Is this what it's gonna be? Or?
Say that louder for the people in the back.
We actually wrote the list.
That's brilliant.
Just slinging hot sauces.
I have a lot of anxiety about to try this. But. You're listening to The Hot Sauce Show, the place to meet hot sauce makers and enthusiasts. Let's jump right in. Hey everyone, welcome to The Hot Sauce Show. We have a very special episode today. We are on the road in Atlanta. This is our first episode shooting on the road. We are in a kitchen where hot sauce is made. We are super excited to be here. We have Adam with Atlanta Burns. Adam, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, man. I'm excited to be here. This is awesome.
Yeah. I sent you a DM and here we are.
Yeah, I responded in like 2 seconds. Like I was on my phone when you sent it to me.
That's so great. It's so great. So like I normally like to do, to jump right into it, what inspired you guys to start making hot sauce?
You know, I've been making hot sauce for a long time. It's sort of, at one point I just was not happy with, I love peppers, vinegar, and salt, right? It's delicious, but wanted to branch out and try something new. So that's kind of a hobby for me anyways, right? I anytime I find something new to be interested in, I'll go out and do that thing, right? So anyways, I tried making a batch or two, and the first couple batches were pretty good, not great. I tried stuff off the internet, tried whatever, and eventually sort of just went out and like, I'm gonna make something crazy, do my own thing, fully off the map, and it was the best one I'd ever made. And so started doing it. Friends and family loved it, and been doing it ever since.
And how long ago was that?
12, 13 years.
Really?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And is that the first sauce in the lineup here?
No, it's actually Sherman's Ghost
Oh,
right
so
here.
We'll get to it.
Yeah.
So Atlanta Burns, I have to ask because I don't like to assume, where's the name come from?
So when we started the company, we did a lot of brainstorming about what was the best name, what fit us, what fit our kind of ethos and what we liked. So we ultimately came up with a list of like 200 names, and we're going through it. We're like, you know what? This is it. Atlanta Burns is just such a good fit, right?
And that's before the AI days.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's right. We actually wrote the list. It was handwritten. So, anyways, the company is again Atlanta Burns. We thought it was appropriate. One, because we're from Atlanta, right? We love Atlanta, the city, the culture, the music. But also it's kind of historically relevant, right? I mean, literally, Atlanta was burned down at some point by Sherman.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah,
so there's background to
right
that.
To the first sauce there, yeah. And also it's a hot sauce company, so Atlanta Burns is,
Yeah, that's a really cool backstory. So you kind of talked about getting into it, but what is your relationship with food and hot sauce and all? Like, what kind of got you into doing that? Were you a chef in a prior life, or do you always like to cook?
Yeah, I mean, I like to cook. It's really not more complicated than that. I like to cook and I like to dabble, and so hot sauce allows me to do both of those things, really.
Yeah. That's great. So your first recipe, you said, kind of spawned from the vinegar and pepper style, and kind of wanted something more from that. So talk me through that.
So I tried a few recipes off of the internet, seeing what I liked there, and found out that those didn't satisfy me either. So I decided that my approach was going to be, I would make a hot sauce with no heat in it, and then add a super hot in it to kind of get to the heat level I wanted, right? So I could really dial in that flavor without, overheating myself, right? So that was kind of how I approached. So I made this sauce first. It's Sherman's Ghost. I used red bell peppers, pineapple, kind of some typical hot sauce ingredients in there, and then got the balance of flavors exactly how I wanted it, and then added ghost peppers into it. And so then over time that kind of evolved a little bit, and like, all right, now let's add more ghost pepper, or let's use a smoked ghost pepper, right, to kind of give it a different characteristic. And so
that's really fascinating. I don't think I've heard anyone talk about that process. So you would have vinegar, water, onions, garlic, whatever. They're basically making a sauce.
Yes.
A hotless sauce.
No capsaicin.
That's
sauce.
really fascinating.
Yeah. And then back in the heat.
Yeah, that's fascinating, because I don't know if a lot of people know this, but a lot of people know about capsaicin, and that's the molecule that triggers the heat and everything, but it's not technically a flavor. that's a chemical reaction in your mouth
Right.
versus sweet, spicy, savory, sour, umami. I think I got all of them. So that's brilliant, coming up with a sauce that like tastes good, and then like let's just ratchet up the heat.
And we used red bell peppers for the pepper flavor in it. Red bell peppers are a delicious pepper that I think are underutilized in hot sauce generally because they don't have any heat on, right? So backing in and adding that ghost pepper allowed me to dial it in exactly where I wanted it to be.
So you made the sauce, and then you knew it was good, and then did you share it with a bunch of people and got feedback from them and make tweaks, or you're like, no, this is solid?
Yeah, and I was kind of bad at batch control, right? So I'd make like 12 bottles and like, okay, how long is it going to take me to eat 12 bottles? So I'd give them away to neighbors, give them away to friends. And the neighbor or the friend would be like, dude, this is amazing. Like, you gotta do this. And so I thought that whatever, man, I'm doing something else, you know? And so you get enough of that and you start to go, maybe I should do this.
Yeah.
You know? So that's really how my friend Donald and I got started in our business together in Atlanta Burns together, right? We were just sort of hanging out at the bar. He knew me, sort of. I knew him, sort of. And so we found out we both liked hot sauce. We both made hot sauce. And so it's like...
So you had started separate paths.
Yeah, we were both doing the same thing, enjoying the same hobby, unprofessionally, right?
Yeah.
And then discovered our mutual love of making hot sauce. So we made a batch or two together. We actually made this recipe together and figured out that I wasn't really adding enough citrus to it to get it to do what I wanted it to do. So he suggested the pineapple, right? So we added a little bit of pineapple in there, and it was like, oh my God, it's been missing pineapple for 10 years.
Really?
You know?
Wow.
So, like after an experience like that in the kitchen, we're just vibing so well. It was like, all right, we gotta do this, right? We're gonna start this business, and so that's kind of how that got started. We spent another 6 months coming up with how are we gonna do it? What's the company gonna look like? What's our approach gonna be like? What type of artwork do we think we need? All that stuff, and evolved from there.
Wow. So you had that sauce for almost a decade.
Yeah.
And then you did a little tweak.
Yep.
Now, does anything come from his side of sauces he was making?
Oh yeah. So OG Heat was his original recipe, right? So he's been making that for about 12 years as well.
Wow.
He was making it with a little more heat to it than it currently has now. We've modified all of our recipes just a little bit to be where we think they need to be for us and for widespread consumption. Yeah.
Great. What's the first one we got here? What is it? OG Heat.
OG Heat.
Let's try it.
All right, let's do it. So OG Heat is a roasted hot sauce. It has roasted red Fresnos as the main. Thank you. As the main ingredient in it, along with roasted habaneros, roasted garlic, shallots, and onion. So
Super pumped for this.
cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Wow. That's full body, ton of flavor. That's the mildest in the lineup.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
They don't get a lot hotter than that, right?
Yeah.
We're going from like, a couple thousand to 3,000 or 4,000 Scovilles. We're not crazy here, right?
Yeah.
So.
So Fresno, I'm tasting some garlic.
Yep.
Now, does this still have, or is the Shermans has the red pepper? Does this have any red pepper in it?
No red pepper.
No red pepper.
No pineapple. Nothing like that. It does have a little lime in there, to give it a little extra pop.
Little citrus boost in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really tasty. We can put these right here. So, really fascinating story with the Atlanta burns. I had no idea that Atlanta burned like that. So that was really interesting. Where does the rest of the inspiration of the branding and all that come from?
A lot of it comes from the city itself. If you look at this bottle, right, the Atlanta skyline's in the background of all of them, right? We knew that was important for us. There's some musical elements happening here and there. If you look at some of the artwork, we just we knew we wanted consistent branding across all 6 bottles. So it really just kind of an iterative process. Let's come up with the main Atlanta Burns logo first, right? Get the elements in there that we really want to have in it, get satisfied with it. And then we hired a designer who kind of fit our general art style, right? We knew we wanted kind of a street art vibe in there, but not for that really to be the defining thing. So we found an artist that was awesome. Her name's Cheryl, And she made all these labels for us,
and she does the art for all of them.
She does the art for all of them.
Wow, yeah, and we'll put them up on the screen here. That's really cool. So, was it all 6 that kind of came out at once, or were you dripping these out, or?
So we started with Sherman's Ghost and OG Heat, right? That was the recipes that Donald and I came into the business with. We were both also making Summertime Blues and Jalapeno Business kind of on the side, but it wasn't like a 12-year recipe like the other ones were, right? So, I had made the Summertime Blues with some habaneros once or twice, and it doesn't have habaneros in it now. It's also a ghost pepper sauce.
Interesting.
But made it like I had a barbecue with some friends, and so I made it just on the fly right there. Here's something to add to the barbecue sauce, and once we started, I started really dialing in the recipe and getting it where I wanted, and
so that's a big consideration now with new flavors, making sure the branding is all jiving and all that.
Well, that for the flavors, the flavor is first and foremost, right? We want to get the best possible flavor, the best profile, something that really makes us go, oh man, that's special. That's really what we want. And then we back into what the branding for that particular flavor looks like from there, right? We have our overall branding, there's a theme to the bottles, obviously.
Right.
But we back into, okay, here's what this could be, like Eat a Peach, right? I mean, there's some obvious music stuff happening there with Allman Brothers, and so like, it's a Georgia ingredient, right? It's peach. Yeah. So we kind of just the bottle was a no-brainer for us.
Yeah. And what I love about it too is, the short time I've known your brand, and I'm sure now your customers you've had for a while, is you could put out a new sauce, probably not even put a logo on it, and people would know, oh, that's Atlanta Burns.
100%.
Yeah,
100% they would.
That's great.
If you walk by one of these bottles, we put out a 7th flavor tomorrow, and we put one on the shelf. If you walk by it, you know that that's Atlanta Burns.
Yeah. Yeah, I really, really think that's awesome. So is there any brands outside of the hot sauce community that influence what you guys do, or I know you have the music and things like, it's more like whole styles.
Less of an individual brand and more of an industry, right? I mean, like the craft beer industry really is an inspiration to us and what our approach is to hot sauce. With the way their approach is, they have their core flavors, right? Their core beers or whatever, and then they have special releases all the time where it's, hey, this new crazy thing, right? This New England IPA or whatever the craze is at the time. So it allows people to both have kind of a new, like, oh man, Atlanta Burns has something new and interesting, but also have the core, like this, you can go back to this time and time again and know it's going to taste awesome.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. What's the next sauce you have here?
Cool, so this is Jalapeno Business. Jalapeno Business is a roasted jalapeno sauce. We can go and grab some spoons here. A lot of the same ingredients as OG Heat.
Okay.
The main flavor here is again a jalapeno instead of a red Fresno. There's some other key differences. There's no shallots in this, and so we wanted the jalapeno to be more forward.
Cheers.
Cheers. Which it is.
Yeah. Wow, I'm really getting. There's a lot of jalapeno on the front end.
Yes.
It's not that hot, but
you get some of that lime in there too. Also a medium sauce there. Dialing in the heat is kind of a challenge in general too.
Yeah.
Like we're making these according to our heat preference, and they're for us. That's a medium, right? I mean, it's we had them tested. The lab in Arizona says it's 2,000-ish Scovilles, and so we go by that. But
it's funny, that one caught me today. It's good. That's really good. I'm going to take a look at this. He's eating the jalapenos.
Yeah.
But really, really jalapeno forward.
Yes. It's meant to showcase that jalapeno flavor, right? That's why it gets Jalapeno Business.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. So where do you get inspiration for your flavors? We've kind of talked about the art and how you go about it, but where does, is it pepper first? Is it, man, I'm eating this unique food, I'd really like a sauce for? Where does that come from?
It comes from anywhere. Sometimes it comes from like, hey, I've got an idea for a sauce, right? I've got a secret sauce we're working on right now that maybe we can talk about at the end, but I want to do this crazy thing with a sauce, right? Can I make a sauce out of blueberries? Literally wandering around the farmer's market going, that could be something. And sometimes it's like this one developed because I really wanted a pepper that didn't have heat, that I could experiment with and kind of tweak flavors with and do so and eat a bunch of it while I was doing it, right? Because I wasn't making hot sauce at the time, so my tolerance is not at the time what it is now, right? Where I could do that with whatever pepper. So
great. Yeah, that's really cool. I love. And do you still use a lot of local ingredients as much as you can with what you're doing?
We are super fortunate. There's a great grocery store like half a mile from here called DeKalb Farmers Market that has just tons and tons of good, fresh, cheap produce. It's 90% of what we use. And they buy from this area. So.
Wow. And then so kind of stepping up from there, then how do you go about your pepper selection?
It depends on what we're doing with the rest of the ingredients and what's appropriate. Sometimes it's appropriate to have a super hot in the mix, and sometimes really we want the flavor, like jalapeno business. We want the flavor of the jalapeno to be the star of the show there, right? So it's a no-brainer. But for summertime blues, there's a lot more going on with that and what's in there. So, we thought that the kind of the smoky ghost pepper characteristics would be a lot better fit with a blueberry than a habanero or whatever other peppers.
And that's good too with the jalapeno is it's obviously a well-known pepper. People see it on the bottle. They want jalapeno because they bought it. And then you just swing the hammer at them. And that's great. I was coughing, but it really wasn't that spicy, I promise. Went down the wrong pipe.
You did great.
So is there any really unique peppers you have, or you have jalapeno, habanero? Does the Sherman's Ghost have ghost in it?
Yeah, so we've got roasted red Fresno and habanero. We've got jalapeno and a little habanero. The Sherman's Ghost is a red bell pepper and ghost pepper sauce. The Summertime Blues, the only pepper in there is a ghost pepper. Eat a Peach is a habanero sauce, right? Peach, habanero, and black truffle. And then Liquid Sunshine Daydream is a Scotch bonnet, a yellow Scotch bonnet sauce.
Wow. So is there any new? You said you have a 7th that may sneak up here. Is there any new peppers you're working with?
We're working with a Carolina Reaper right now, coming up with an interesting flavor for that. I think I've got something that you'll be hopefully impressed with at the end. So
Great. One thing you mentioned earlier is that you really try to keep your heat level all kind of in one place.
Roughly. Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit more about that?
So plus or minus like 50 or 60% in here, right? So we're not going from 2,000 Scovilles to 200,000, right? That's not what we're doing. We're going from 2,000 to 3,500 maybe, So we want to stay in that same range. Our goal is for somebody to be able to sit down and eat this, to use it in food, for it to be comfortable to slather a bunch on a burrito or whatever other thing you're eating and go. It's something to improve the taste of your food, not to hammer you in the head when you have a dab of it. And we'd ultimately like people to buy another bottle of it someday. So it's important for it to not be a zillion Scovilles.
Yeah, I mean that's a great thing when talking about I say the renaissance with the hot sauce world and everything, but there's still a lot of people that like just a little bit of heat or just enough heat like this has. And the beauty of this, like that jalapeno sauce, for instance, I could see my family, the 4 of us, using a bottle for quesadilla night, 100%. Like gone like that. Yeah, super hot's cool and everything. And there's a crowd for that. I like super hots. I use them, so I don't stay away from them. But if I'm using a bottle out a week, at the end of the day, it's a business. You love doing it, but you got to make money to stay in business.
We're making a delicious sauce, right? So it's just a great fit all around. Right. I have a buddy, by the way, that calls that taco night in a bottle.
Yeah, that's perfect. Do you tell people that when they come up to the booth?
He does. We all kind of have our little spiel when we're at a festival. Like how I go through the sauces is a little different than how Donald and how some of our buddies do when they help us sell. So.
What's your personal favorite heat level for just everyday eating?
It's going to be on the mid-higher end right here. So these two guys are 3,000 to 3,500 Scovilles, and that's really where I want to be. Yeah. When I started, it was closer to here, and it just is. I know it's going to creep up over time because of what I'm doing and what I'm up to, and that's all right.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's going to creep up over time. I mean, I have relatively young kids, and they're eating spicy food completely biased because we have 500 hot sauce. Like,
Of
course they're biased, but coming from school, like all the spicy candy challenges, and not even the challenges, just kids in their school box having these different spicy foods, not just our kids. So where I was never exposed to that as a kid. You know, the only spicy food I ate was at home. Maybe we'd go out to eat, and my mom or dad would say, "Hey, try this, Diablo Bourbon Street pasta or something like that." But I was never really exposed to like spicy foods. I feel like maybe buffalo wings in college were kind of like my gateway to eating spicy, and then I was like, "Oh, this is cool." And then, you can have spicy food that's like high-end food, not just buffalo wings. And then it's all blossomed, obviously, to where we are now. But I think with this next generation of everyone, the rising tide that we're on in the hot sauce industry, and then just like I said, my kids' generation getting older and everything, like just eating spicy food, right off the rip, and I think that's great.
Most of the people who come up to us that are the most excited at a festival are kids.
Really?
They're 12, 13 years old. They're watching YouTube. They're watching shows on YouTube, watching their favorite streamer eat a pepper or have hot sauce or take their own little wing challenge, and it's just become a part of the culture in a crazy way.
Yeah, and they ask you that question.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know the question.
I know the question.
Have you seen Hot Ones? Yeah, of course we have, man. We love it too. Try all our sauces.
Yeah. Well, let's so Sherman's goes. Let's get into that. This was the first sauce you created. The sauce is decade old.
Yeah.
And then you had a couple little tweaks before you brought it to market.
Yeah. Right? So again, the red bell pepper was the key element. I used some lime juice, used some garlic, some other things in there, and always ghost peppers.
Okay.
I thought it needed maybe a little more lime juice. We were kind of tweaking it, Donald and I were, and he suggested the pineapple, and that was ultimately, thank you, sir. Mm-hmm. That was ultimately just the
X factor.
It was it.
Now this still has red bell pepper in it?
It does, yep. It's a red bell pepper base with pineapple in the background there or up front, depending on your taste buds, and some ghost pepper in it. Cheers.
Oh, yeah. That pineapple's tasty.
And that smoky ghost is really just right after it,
Yeah, sweet almost always hits first. And then the heat comes to back. Yeah, it's a, I don't know how to describe it, if I'd call it like a natural smoky flavor, but it's like, it tastes integrated with the pepper versus liquid smoke, which I know you're not doing. Yeah, that's really good. I can envision it without the heat, and like, this is a good sauce like this.
Yes.
Like almost like a tropical pasta sauce.
Yeah,
something,
a little bit.
something like that,
Yeah, I've not put it on like a pasta or like a Cajun sort of a dish, but I already know it'd be delicious.
Yeah. That's really tasty. Is that one of your best sellers?
It's when people try it, they're immediately hooked, right? It's the trying it of that one. That one I think doesn't get people's like, they see the eat a peach and go, oh my God, black truffle, I got to try that, right? But when people try this one, their eyes open up, and it's like, okay, that's coming home with me.
Yeah, it's really delicious. It's similar to the first one, but hotter, and then it's got the smoky flavor, but kind of the same, kind of that citrusy twang like that. Because this one has the lime in it. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then this one's the pineapple.
Yep.
Has some pineapple.
Yep.
And it's got a little lime in there too.
Yeah, and I like that you can you kind of taste the pineapple, but it's not overwhelming.
It's not the main character. It's a side character for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So how does any previous work experience, life experience, how has that geared you up for owning, running, making? This is your kitchen if you haven't figured out yet.
Yep.
Hop's like, tell me about that, because that's quite a jump.
So I've spent a lot of time in manufacturing. That's kind of my background, right? Is manufacturing, whether that's in printing or wherever. So labeling and graphics are very important to me for that reason, right? So it was very important to me to have a high quality label that looked great, and also I have a management marketing degree, I've kind of always been of the opinion that the most important thing that we can do for ourselves is have a label that is awesome, right? Because at a festival, I can sell a bottle of hot sauce all day. You can sell a bottle of hot sauce all day, right? But when it's on a shelf, the only salesperson for the brand is the label on the bottle, and that is it, man.
Say that louder for the people in the back.
So for me, you've got to have killer artwork. You've got to have a unique something happening there, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people do the unique bottle shape, right? Hard for us to do because you've really got to have some volume to get something truly custom. It's wicked expensive. And so, we've just ultimately focused on really coming up with a stellar label. We believe.
Right, and how your printing experience and manufacturing is really important. I've said it, I don't know how many times on the show now, but you nailed it with, like, you need a salesperson for the 99.99999% of bottles that you're not going to physically sell to somebody.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't sell every bottle. The label sells every bottle. That's what it is.
Right, and then it being good, which it is what draws people coming back.
Gets it again, right? I've had a few bottles of hot sauce that it was just a smoking marketing theme. It was okay sauce. It wasn't great, wasn't life changing, but the marketing was killer, and I bought that sauce, right? So we hope that we're doing both.
Yeah, you'd love to hear it. So any challenges you've come across with doing all of this? Or maybe not challenges specifically, but stuff that was maybe more difficult than you thought it was, or
the understanding what all it takes to be doing this in full compliance is important, right? To understand the better process control class that I took was like huge, and understand, okay, I got to do this, I didn't know I needed this, I'm glad I know this now, right? And so that might have been easier if we were a bigger company starting. We had a lawyer, and we were ready to spend $10,000 or $20,000 on startup, and for that matter, if we had a co-packer, right? So we're making it all ourselves, and neither one of us have been in this particular business before, so there was a big learning curve there.
Right. So you got to a point where you liked a recipe, and then you're like, we will need to commercially make this.
Yes.
And then that's just a huge leap.
Yep.
It is. And both on the paperwork side, the health side, the classes,
the equipment.
Yeah, getting all of that. Yeah, that's quite a leap to take. So how long have you been commercially making products?
About a year and a half. Yeah.
And it's been going well.
Been going really well. It's crazy how fast it's gone for us. We feel like we got our approval and we're like, all right, let's go do the thing, right? And we sold like $500 to friends, and they were like, is this what it's going to be? Are we in trouble? Have we maybe made a mistake? And then we went to our first big festival.
And can you say what that was?
Yeah, it was a Little 5 Points Halloween festival.
Cool.
And so, there's like 100,000 people that just rush through in like 2 hours. It's a 2-day festival, right? But there's one crazy peak of it all, right? So we had 5 people in our booth, and all 5 people are just slinging hot sauce as fast as I had to actually step back from talking to people so that I could just be ringing people up as fast as I could possibly ring them up. So you get done with a 2-day festival like that, and you're exhausted and you're tired, but you've got this energy from like, oh my God, we just did this wild thing. Yeah, it is. And so Donald and I looked at each other and we were like, this is gonna work.
Yeah,
this is gonna work.
What a great feeling.
Yeah.
Wow. And how long ago was that?
A year.
And you're gonna do it again?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. How many bottles do you like to run at a time?
On a good day, we run about 500 bottles, right?
Okay.
So it's not huge batches. We're doing basically 20 gallons per day.
Per day.
Yeah.
And then you keep it small and tight and make exactly what you need.
If we can make what we need, that's both a benefit and also a potential, danger area to get into, right? You can kind of jump on the hamster wheel and go from I'm making things for an event, now I'm selling an event, now I'm making for the next event. And so the challenge that we're currently working through is getting off of that and going into, all right, we're just doing this one thing really well, and we're making a ton of sauce, so we have people that sell it. We're on shelves, and we're kind of focusing on the wholesale side of things too, so that we don't have to sell every bottle, right? Because it just is a lot.
What do you, if you could sell it or make it, what would you prefer?
Make it.
I know. I said got him.
Dude, it's so much fun. It's selling to people, Like I love talking to people and meeting new people, and so being able to roll into a festival and meet 200 new people and sell them all a bottle of hot sauce that they're all super excited about is just an incredible experience. It can be tiring, right? You do 6 of those weekends in a row, and you want to be making it, not selling it.
Right. But you do like the making it process.
Yeah, love it.
And
that's why we're still doing it, right? We decided not to use a co-packer, right? We want the sauce to be exactly what we want it to be, right? We want to define the exact sodium content. It's all very low sodium. We want to define the exact everything of the process. And to have the most control possible, we felt that the best way was for us to make it ourselves. Donald is extremely talented when it comes to equipment and coming up with an efficient way to do things. I've been in manufacturing my whole life as well, so this is really a no-brainer for us to make it all ourselves.
That's great, and I'm glad you like doing that, because there's a lot of people that don't like doing it, and it just becomes work that's not fun. I guess
and when it starts to become a grind, we know we've got to talk about how we work through that. It's how do we make this not be a grind? Do we need to, I make it one weekend with a team of people, you make it the next weekend with a team of people. Right. Do we, what do we do so that we offset that load a little bit?
Yeah, that's a great way to do it, and glad you're kind of planning for it that way.
Yeah.
All right, great. What do we next here we have? Is it Summertime Blues?
Summertime Blues?
Yeah, tell me about the sauce.
So this is a blueberry ghost pepper sauce, right? I originally made it with habaneros in it, but just kind of the smokiness of that ghost pepper just really,
so it's a smoked ghost.
It complements, it's a smoked ghost again. It complements it so much. So like what you're going to get blueberry, you're going to get ghost pepper. There's a little citrus in there as well. Cheers.
And that smells like blueberry.
Yeah.
Wow. You mean business.
Yeah.
When you say blueberry. That is like blueberry sauce with ghost pepper in it.
So much like Sherman's Ghost, right? We started out making a blueberry sauce and then added in some habaneros for heat, and then ultimately figured out that the ghost pepper was just such a much better partner to that, right?
Yeah. That seems like, to me, like breakfast written all over it.
It is. Breakfast written all over. Anything with fats, it's really good with, right? So if you're barbecue, right, with that smoky blueberry thing going on is delicious. Cheese, for that matter, right? Ice cream, anything with fat content is gonna go well with that.
Cuts through it, and little sweetness.
Yep.
Yeah, I've had a lot of blueberry hot sauces, and that might be the most blueberry hot sauce.
Thank you.
Yeah.
In my humble opinion, that's the best one.
Yeah. You're not biased. Like, it just is. It just is the best. Well, what do you do? What we've talked about your branding. We've gotten, 2/3 of the way through your sauces here. What do you feel like you do to set yourself apart from every other hot sauce maker?
Man, that's a tough question. So it's kind of a great many small things that roll up into one big thing, I think, right? So it's who we are, who the brand is the sum of what we're about, the individual ingredients, the attention to detail, every small maker is laser beam focused on. We're super high quality, right? And we are as well, right? We've got all high quality ingredients and no additives, no, like we wanted a thickener to thicken up that a little bit. The Summertime Blues, we use kudzu, right? So
kudzu, what is that?
Kudzu is y'all should have plenty of it in Jacksonville. It's that green vine.
Oh, like kudzu, vine. Yeah. That's in it.
So it acts as a thickening agent. So it just gives it a little extra body without making it feel slimy and kind of,
Yeah.
And it's an all-natural ingredient. So all of those small things kind of add up to one big thing that separate us from the pack, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I think it all, everything's tasted great so far, and the branding is on point. And what are you doing to keep your, I don't want to say your customers engaged, but kind of engaging with your customer base? Are you doing a lot of markets and stuff that you hear from that? Are you getting feedback from them there, or social media? Where's your your big spot.
We do a lot of markets. We do a lot of events. Last year we went to 22 events.
Wow.
So this year we'll probably go to that many or maybe a few less. We're trying to trade out some small events for some big events, but the small ones are really important to us too. You know, kind of that core group that's been with us from the start. We want to be there and be selling them hot sauce, and you know, there's nothing that fills my heart more than somebody be like, "Oh, look, it's Adam. What's up? I need 2 more bottles of OG Heat." Like, yes. You know, it feels good. You know, and it's important for us to stay in touch with those people that again really have put us where we are now. You know?
Yeah.
So.
What have you found with the markets and shows where, and this is kind of a vague question, but are you doing better at markets where you're the only hot sauce, or do you like the ones where there's a bunch of hot sauce companies, music festivals? Is there one thing that...
We've not been at many that have multiple hot sauce companies. We like to be the only one there, but we're delighted to see you know, some of the other guys here. We know most of them, so it's like, oh, what's up, man? How you doing?
Yeah.
You know, but it doesn't bother us at all for another hot sauce company to be there. You know, what we want is the foot traffic. That's really what we want. We want to have, you know, 100,000 people walk by our table,
and hopefully it's 100,000 new people.
And listen, if we sell to 1 out of 1,000, we still did pretty good. You know.
Yeah. That's a great way to look at that. Yeah. All right, next one we got here. Eat a peach.
Eat a peach.
Tell me about that. A few references going on there.
So there's this is, first of all, what the sauce is, right? It's a peach, habanero, and black truffle, right? So we knew we wanted to make a peach and habanero sauce. We knew that we wanted it to be something a little different, a little unique. So I just made a batch of peach and habanero and started tasting around with it. Okay, well, I like kind of the earthy elements of the peach, or I like the earthy elements of the habanero. So what else would go with that? And ultimately came across, truffle would actually be super good in that, right? It kind of bridges the gap between the two main ingredients without being overpowering.
And this is regular truffle or black truffle?
It's black truffle.
And what does that mean exactly?
What does black truffle mean?
Yeah.
It's a mushroom, basically.
So black is that a different kind of truffle? Type of truffle. Type of truffle. Got it. Because black garlic's kind of like funkified garlic, right?
Yeah, black garlic is a funky, like, I think it's fermented garlic.
Okay. But black truffle is a thing.
It's the thing.
God, that grows.
It grows underground.
Got it. Cheers.
Cheers.
Wow.
They find them with pigs, right? So it's got a little pig on the bottle. Truffle pig.
That is really tasty, really unique. Yeah, and I'm not a big truffle guy, but it's just there.
It's a touch.
Yeah.
That's what it's supposed to be. It's just a little touch in the background to go, oh, that is something. I've eaten them all as my main sauce in various times, right? Like I'll get on a big OG kick or a big Shermans kick or a big Liquid Sunshine kick. But lately I have really been going through a lot of Eat a Peach.
What do you like to eat that on?
The typical hot sauce stuff, you know. So the Summertime Blues and Eat a Peach are both killer on. They're all killer on wings. But lately I've been eating a lot of sardines.
Sardines.
And that
with Eat a Peach.
Peach is killer on the sardines. But it's just like OG and everything else. It's good on pizza. It's good on eggs, right? All these are meant to be as versatile as they can possibly be. So I think these two kind of share a core zone, right? So anything like a barbecue or anything like that is really good for both of those sauces.
Yeah, and not that I didn't believe you, because I did believe you. But yeah, the heat level is kind of like doing like this.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, just
a little bit.
Creeping up a little bit.
Yep.
Which is really nice that they're all different flavors. Heat levels kind of around the same spot. You know, having super hots or hots with half your lineup doesn't alienate a huge group of people. Yeah. So it's like, you like this flavor? That's it
makes it approachable, right? Having a super hot in there that has, you can taste the ghost pepper in it, but it doesn't like overpower you. Yeah. Like not everybody can handle a ghost pepper sauce. Not everybody can taste that sauce. So having it mixed with something that's a little sweeter in there kind of makes it more approachable for somebody to come up and go, oh man, I've had ghost pepper and it was great. I tasted this in it, right? So they get to kind of participate in that a little bit,
Right. Or you have two people come up, it's a couple, one loves hot sauce, one doesn't. Oh, I don't do anything spicy, and you're like, just try this.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think of that? And they go, oh, and they hit you with it. This is actually good. It's like my favorite thing. This is.
Yeah.
Do you know hot ones? This is actually good. And what's your hottest?
Yeah.
You need like all three on your shirt.
Yeah. Yo, that's a great idea for like merch, I think.
Yeah.
Like, what's your hottest is the number one question we get. So the one that I'm going to talk about later is being developed specifically because of that question. What's your hottest? Okay. Well, like, I got you. I got a little something behind the counter for you.
Okay.
So.
How do you feel overall about the hot sauce community in general? Do you feel like it's headed in the right direction with awareness and all that?
Yeah, I mean it's growing rapidly, right? So that comes with all kinds of things, right? It comes with a bigger crowd for us to sell to, right? More people enthusiastic. It comes with people having stronger thoughts about, well, this is how Scoville should work, or this is how this should work. We welcome it all, and again, it's a chance for us to do what Donald and I love anyways, which is get in there, make something unique and interesting, have fun with it, and present it to other people and watch them go, oh yes, I love what you've created. Sweet.
That's the best, from walking through the farmer's market, seeing a unique item, to then 6 months, a year later, seeing someone enjoy it, and then seeing that person come back and buy it. That's just extremely fulfilling.
Yeah, seeing them come back and be like, oh yeah, I had your sauce last year at this festival. We need 2 more bottles of OG. Like, yes. Yeah. Yes, you do.
Yeah. Yeah, you love to hear that. Yeah. So what's your plan for the company for the next 5 years?
5 years.
Or a year, or 2 years.
We'll be retired in 5 years.
Exactly.
So, right now the plan is to scale up our production. We're upgrading our equipment this summer. We'll be able to run triple the batch size that we can run now. So we're excited about that, right? That gives us the ability to expand more rapidly and kind of puts off us having to hire a full-time staff to do this. So me and Donald can really continue to do it, and it be our passion for us. We're in here making it every day, not managing people who are making it, right? Which is where it's going to go. We know that in the next year, 2 years, it's gonna, if it grows at the rate it's growing now, we're gonna have to have full-time staff, sales team, all that fun stuff. So
now, what markets or regions do you see yourself expanding to?
At first our only concern with the Atlanta Burns name was like, oh man, are we gonna be regionally like bound by that? And as we've been out on the road and talked to people, we don't feel like that's been the case at all. So we do still feel like the Southeast is our first and biggest market, and we'll expand as much as we can into it and just kind of see where it goes. Right. Our specific marketing plan, we like the idea of taste sells our sauce, right? I mean, you taste it and you're like, oh my God, this is unique, or it's interesting, right? So being in a place where we can put that bottle on a table for somebody just to go up and taste, that's what hooks a customer for us, right? That right there, they're like, oh my God, this is legit. And suddenly that person is now using the QR code to go to the website and buy a bottle. Yeah. So restaurants, some other places that have it on the table, those are kind of the target. That's
wonderful. All right, last one on the table here. We have Liquid Sunshine Daydream. Tell me about this.
So Liquid Sunshine Daydream is a Scotch bonnet hot sauce. So we use yellow Scotch bonnets. This is like one of the last bottles. It's a seasonal sauce, right? We can't make it year round because that Scotch bonnet's not available. We don't use mashes at all, right? So it's all fresh peppers. So because it's a fresh pepper, you just can't get it in the winter. So anyways, cheers.
Cheers.
But what's up front is not the Scotch bonnet as much as it is that lemon, right?
Wow.
You get them both.
Yep. Lemon, Scotch, that is really delicious. Like a fish taco, or
Any kind of fried food that is just
Monster.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you squeeze lemon on it, try this. And that nails it.
100%. Anything that benefits from the addition of citrus, this goes. So like the Bloody Mary, right? I can just sum it up with anything that goes well with citrus is a good candidate for that sauce.
Really, and I love that it says.
And it's a great wing sauce, you know.
I love that it says lemon pepper sauce.
Yeah.
So people know exactly what that means. Wow, really, really, really tasty. All right, you said you were working on something.
Yes.
Let's see it.
All right, so I am working on a new recipe here that we are slowly iterating on. So this is not publicly available yet, right? But it is this is in response to the "What's the hottest thing do you have?"
Okay.
Right? So for that person, we will be able to say, "It's the one on the end, bud." So this is a chocolate hot sauce, right? As you can probably tell by the bottle. So it's chocolate. It is dried dark cherries and it's black garlic. So it's also Carolina Reapers. It's called Reaper Madeness. So these guys right here, about 1 ghost pepper a bottle,
Okay.
right? This guy right here, about 4 Reapers a bottle. So that's not crazy hot, but it's spicy,
Oh my
right?
God.
So it's about a 4 to 5x.
And I love that it says Spice Lab on it.
Yeah, so we got these labels so we could have something to write on for what.
What test recipe this is,
And
right?
then there's the white spot here that they can write stuff in. This is brilliant. This is so cool. I gotta smell it.
So,
Oh no. I smell the cherries. I smell the chocolate.
yeah.
That's
So
that's deceiving.
One of the things that we gotta
Sort out with this one is that it's a very thick boy.
Give it a shake.
So yeah, thank you.
I have a lot of anxiety about to try this, but it looks really good.
So
good.
we know that whenever we get the right recipe, that it's going to
Slam dunk.
be a slam dunk, and just grab it out of
Might need to cut it a little bit more.
well, here.
Oh, there
Good
we
luck.
go. No name yet?
So Reaper Madness.
Reaper Madness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Cheers.
Reaper Madness. You saw it here first. Wow. That is like, okay. It's like Nutella, cherry, spicy paste. That is really something.
Yeah.
I have never had anything like that before.
That recipe has been like kicking around in my head for like a year,
Wow.
year and a half. Like I knew I wanted a chocolate
And the
hot
black
sauce.
garlic, I forgot about it. I tasted it, but my brain, sorry to interrupt you.
No, go for it, man. I'm loving it.
That's so unique. In a good way. I know people say, oh, it's interesting. Like, no, I don't. It is interesting, but not in a bad way. And now the heat is just...
Yeah, that Reaper really is a
Roaring.
slow. It's like at first you don't have the Reaper.
Oh,
you get the chocolate, you get the cherry. Sits for a minute. You get the black garlic, and then the Reaper's like, "What's up, buddy? Remember me?"
I mean, yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Put that on you try it, you're like, oh, put it on a cracker, and then you start eating it, and you're like, I'm in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, do you think you'll keep that consistency or try to thin it out a little
It
bit?
needs to be thinned out a little bit.
We used all we could get our hands on for that batch was a dried Reaper, and so we know that we want to use a fresh Reaper in it. We know that we'll probably add a little more water content to it to give it a little more pourability, right? Because that's just incredibly thick.
Right.
So.
Right. Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that today, and
man.
thank you for opening up your kitchen for us. This is super exciting to do this in an actual kitchen where hot sauce is made and not on our soundstage like
Yeah.
usual. Yep. It's doing things to my tongue and my lips, and wow, really, really good. Well, thank you so much for having us out today.
It's been a pleasure, man.
I appreciate it. Yeah, we'll have to come back and visit again.
It's been cool to talk, and
Yeah,
to share.
this is what I want to do is have a show that digs down into the sauces and talks about them and makes something like there's not like they're out there right now. So thank you.
You're welcome. Again, it brings me a lot of joy to see you guys enjoy what we've made. You know, that's an incredible feeling.
Likewise. Where is the best place for our followers to become your followers?
So we're on Instagram at ATL Burns, and our website is atlburns.com.
Cool.
Simple
cool.
as that.
All right, we'll flash on the next screen. So
Awesome.
once again, thank you so much
Thank
for
you
today.
so much.
Appreciate it. Have a good
All right.
one. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for listening to The Hot Sauce Show. Be sure to follow us here and on socials to stay up to date on future episodes.